Hello, and welcome to Socially Holistic Podcast. Socially Holistic helps coaches and holistic entrepreneurs and women in heart-centered businesses make sense of social media so they can build their own online network and get more clients. As a heart-centered business owner, you do amazing work. Holly's mission in life is to help you help more people. Help us help more women in business with a 5-star review of this podcast. Please leave one today over at iTunes. The more women who find out about this podcast, the more heart-centered businesses will be successful. Thank you.
Hello and welcome to the Socially Holistic Podcast, episode 49. This is your host, Holly Worton, and I'm also delivering the content for today. So, today we're going to talk about 7 ways you're wasting time on social media and how to stop. Now, this is an important, very, very important topic for me because I see so many people struggling with wasting time on social media. And so I decided to put this together just based on a lot of the common questions and comments and confusion that I see out there. So I hope that you find this useful. And we're going to go through the 7 ways you're wasting time. So let's get started. First of all, do you feel that you're currently wasting time on social media? Think about that. Think about how much time you think you're wasting. Now, again, I see so many people online complaining about how social media is a huge time suck and a black hole of, this place where they disappear into for hours on end and, do all this stuff on social media but don't really get anything done. So, how much time do you actually think you're wasting on social media? And what would you do if you had an extra 1, 2, or 3 hours in each day? Now, I think this is really, really important to ask because if you're wasting 1 to 3 hours every day on social media, you can get some of that time back. So what we're going to cover today is why it's so important to get focused and plan your time on social media so that you can stop wasting your time. Then we're going to go into the 7 ways I think you're probably wasting time on social media based on things that I've seen other people say and things that I've observed other people doing. Next, we're going to wrap it up with things that you can do today and steps you can take to actually stop wasting time and optimize the time that you spend on your social media marketing for business. So, why is this so important? I think that's always important to cover just because, I think time management is very, very obvious that it's important, but, just in case you need convincing. So first of all, as you know, it's so easy to waste time online, especially in social media. There's so much information out there. A lot of it's really, really juicy. You've got friends on your social media channels in addition to your business contacts, and it's so easy to just overlap social media for business and then get sidetracked with your friends and conversations, and you click on a link and then you go to that video with that cute little kitten, and then it just all goes downhill from there. So it's so easy to waste time online, and I think we've all done it, at least once and probably on a daily or weekly basis. So it's easy to do, and I know that you know that. Second of all, social media should just be one part of your marketing strategy. Now, I'm sure you have other methods of marketing your business, whether it's speaking or online advertisement, social media advertisement, or, networking. There's so many ways to market your business, and social media should just be one part of that. Next, it's important to avoid social media overwhelm because I see so many people just getting totally overwhelmed with social media. And they try to be everywhere because they have this fear of missing out and they don't know where they should be. So they get on every single social media channel and it just gets totally overwhelming. And I think that part of the reason it's so overwhelming is that people don't have a plan. So they just do all this stuff, but there's no plan. So they're not really getting anything done. Now, this is also important to stop wasting time on social media because social media is not your business. Now, it's my business, so I do spend quite a bit of time on social media because I've got to stay on top of all the changes because it's constantly changing. I've got to be on top of new things that are coming out. Social media is my business, but if you're listening to this, I'm going to assume that it's not your business. So whether you're a coach or a holistic practitioner, or whatever it is that you do, social media is probably not your business. So you need to stop wasting time on it. You need to recognize it as one part of your marketing strategy and spend just a part of your day and a part of your week on it and not dedicate hours and hours on end. So how much time should you be spending on social media? I think you should plan to spend a maximum of 5 to 10% of your time on social media marketing. Let me say that again. Maximum of 5 to 10% of the time that you spend on your business should be spent on social media marketing. How much time actually is that? What does 5 to 10% mean? That means that if you work 10 hours a day, that's between 30 and 60 minutes a day. If you work 8 hours a day, that's between 24 and 48 minutes per day. If you work 6 hours a day, that's 18 to 36 minutes. So think about that. How many hours do you work in a given workday? And what is your 5 to 10%? Now, how did those numbers compare to your current reality? I'm going to guess they're a lot less than what you're actually spending on social media. I'm going to guess that you're probably spending at least an hour, if not 2 hours on social media. And that's probably way too much. Now, this is a generalization, and of course, everyone's business is different. As I said, my business is social media, so I definitely spend more than 5 to 10% of my time on social media. So, how to minimize time on social media so that you're spending less time on your social media marketing and more time on the actual actions that create money and bring money into your business. How do you minimize your time on social media? Well, first of all, you've got to hyper-focus. Now, hyper-focus is something that's really, really easy for me, and it's something that I find very easy to do. I'm very, very focused, but I do this by minimizing distractions. I have an office with a closed door. I close the door when I'm working. My husband, who also works with me, knows not to knock on my door. If he needs to talk to me, I come downstairs on a regular basis so that we can discuss business things. But when the door is closed, he should not knock. So that's one of the things that I do. Next, I don't answer my phone. My home phone is unplugged most of the time, and I check in with voicemail every once in a while. My mobile phone is usually either airplane mode or it's silent so that I don't hear the calls coming in. So I do not get distracted by outside things. Skype, I'm usually either invisible on Skype or I've got it closed altogether unless I actually have a meeting planned with someone. So unless I have a call planned with someone, I'm not accepting calls either by my home phone or my mobile or by Skype. All the chat stuff, whether it's texting on my phone or Facebook chat, all that stuff that is disabled. Google Chat, I usually appear as invisible. I minimize all that stuff. What else is a distraction? Your email is probably a distraction. So you know how a lot of people, and I'm sure you've done this as well, you keep your email open on, the tab on your browser or your Outlook or whatever it is that you use to manage your email. You keep it open all day long. Now, not good, because that's such a huge distraction. And if you've got little sounds or buzzers or stuff to let you know the second an email comes in, bad. Disable all of that. You do not need to know when each email comes through. Try to plan specific amount of time each day to focus on your email, and when you're not doing that, close the tab, close the email software, close whatever it is that manages your email. So that means that when you're focusing on social media, you're just on social media, and you don't have that possibility of either getting distracted by phone calls or by your email. Very, very important. Next, you need to train your brain. And this is something that comes with time. It's not easy at the first, but you will get used to it. So train your brain to just stop when you realize you're doing something you're not supposed to be doing. So again, if you've got half an hour today allotted to do social media for business, do just that. And if you find yourself clicking away to that little cat video or some, BuzzFeed poll or one of those things that's so distracting, train your brain to recognize that it's not something that you've got planned because it's not social media marketing for business. Stop, close that browser tab or whatever it is, and go back to your social media marketing for business. Now, again, this takes time, but you will get to the point where you'll realize what you're doing and you just close the tab and get out of there. Next, set goals and objectives. Each time that you get on social media, whether that's a half hour, 45 minutes, an hour, be sure that you know what you're doing. Create a plan. What are the 3 main tasks that you're going to do on social media in that half hour, 45 minutes, or an hour? Prioritize those tasks. Which is the most important? 1, 2, 3. Get those 3 big things done. And then once you have time left over, you can do other things. But you need to set goals and objectives, create a plan, and prioritize your tasks whenever you get on social media. So, what are those 7 ways you're wasting time on social media? And how can you stop doing it? First of all, top way you're wasting time on social media, I think, you're blending in with the crowd. Now, do you struggle to stand out in the online crowd? Now, I know you know that just about everyone is on social media. There's so many businesses on there. There's such a struggle to stand out online, stand out in the crowd. Do you find that you struggle as well? I know so many women in business do. So if you're struggling to stand out in the crowd, first of all, let your colors shine. Don't be beige. A lot of times people will kind of water down their message and try to appeal to everyone. And that's exactly what you don't want to do if you want to stand out. If you've got fears of visibility, and I just did a webinar on this last month, and my podcast covered it as well. If you've got fears around visibility, around marketing yourself, or around standing out publicly online, work on those fears. Get the help that you need, whether it's tapping, whether it's Psych K, which is what I use with clients. Find out what tool works for you, NLP, hypnotherapy, and shift those fears. It's okay to be visible. It's okay to stand out online. So train yourself to get over those fears and just let your personality shine through. Next, you want to be authentic. You can model what other people are doing online, but always adapt it to you and your style and your personality. Don't copy other people. Find your voice and use it. Now, this is something that takes time, and it's something that comes over the time, the course of using social media for business. The more you blog, the more you do videos, the more you use social media, the more you will find your voice. And once you've found it, just use it. Write how you speak. If you're doing a video, speak how you speak. Don't try to be something you're not. Just be yourself, because that's what's going to attract your ideal clients to you. So focus on who are you? What's your unique story? Everyone has a different story of how they got to where they are today, both personally and in life and in their business. So what makes you unique? If you're a fitness coach, you are different from every other fitness coach out there. If you're a business coach or a marketing coach or whatever it is that you do, there is something that is different about you from every other person in your niche or in your industry. Next, ask yourself, what is your big why? Why are you doing what you're doing? What is the purpose behind your business? Why are you doing this? Being in business is not easy. So you've got to have a big driving purpose behind why it is that you're doing what you're doing. Next, take a look at what your clients say. What are your clients saying in testimonials? What are they saying online about you? How are they tweeting to you? What kinds of things are they saying to you? And what things are they saying about you? You can use a lot of that language when you're describing yourself online, either in your bios or on your website, that kind of thing. So these are the principal ways of how to stand out in the crowd. Now, this is really kind of quick because I need to get through all of these 7 steps in this episode, but this is something that I really go through in depth on my online social media course. So there's a lot more you can do here, but these are the basics, and you really need to cover this to get started. So 2, another way you're wasting time on social media, you're connecting with all the wrong people. A lot of people will get on social media and they'll just start connecting with everyone and anyone because they want to just collect as many people as they can. So let me ask you, are you confident that you know exactly who to connect with online? There are two main groups of people that you should be looking to connect with on social media. One, your ideal clients. Two, your ideal joint venture partners. Now, I'm sure you know what joint venture partners are, but just in case, let me tell you. Joint venture partners are other business owners like yours, who work with the same ideal client base as you have, but they provide a different solution or a different type of service. Hope that makes sense. So the example I always give is I work with women in heart-centered businesses. I have a friend, Kathy Ballard, who is also a guest here on the podcast, and you can check out her episode as well. She does branding for women in heart-centered businesses. Another friend of mine is Catherine Watkin, who is also a guest on this podcast. She does sales training for women in heart-centered businesses, teaches them how to have sales conversations rather than closing the sale, which can feel kind of icky. So they are both ideal JV partners for me because they work with women in heart-centered businesses and they provide a different solution and a different service to what I provide. Hope that makes sense. So who are your ideal clients? Your ideal clients are the clients you most enjoy working with. So what you want to do is you want to create an ideal client avatar or persona. How you do that is by looking at the demographics and the psychographics. So who's your ideal client? Is it a man? Is it a woman? How old are they? Where do they live? Where are they based geographically? What's more details about them? I mean, there's so many different things you can look into as far as demographics, ethnicity, religion, spirituality, so many different things. So you really need to get as detailed as possible when you create this ideal client avatar. Next, you want to look into the psychographics, which is what their big challenge is, what their big pain is, what are they suffering, why is it that they would seek out someone like you. Next, you also want to look at clients you don't enjoy, because you need to be really clear on not only who do you want to work with, but who do you not want to work with. And a lot of times when you look at the characteristics and traits of clients that you don't enjoy working with, that can help you understand more closely who it is and that you most enjoy working with and why. So again, looking at these clients that you don't enjoy working with, why don't you enjoy working with them? And most importantly, can you let go of them? It can be very, very useful in business to let go of clients that you don't enjoy working with so that you can make space for more of the clients that you do enjoy working with. So get really, really clear on who your ideal clients are. Next, who are your ideal joint venture partners? So again, they have a similar client base to yours, but they provide a different solution. Now, what's important here is that you should love what they do. So the women that I have in my podcast are on there because I love what they do. Either I met them online or I met them offline. Yeah, I always do research on someone before I invite them onto the podcast. And if they have received a podcast invitation, it's because I love what they do. So I hope that makes sense. I would never do a joint venture or an interview with someone if I didn't absolutely love them. And again, you should be mutually compatible. So again, you're probably not going to look to, if you're just a startup starting out in your business, you're probably not going to have a very fruitful joint venture relationship with someone who's, been in business for 10 years and got a massive client base, because you probably won't be very compatible and they probably won't be looking to connect with someone like you. So you also want to look for businesses that are perhaps at the same level as yours, the same growth rate, or the same size, or, they've been in business for the same amount of time as you. And that would make you mutually compatible to be ideal joint venture partners. Next, number 3, you're using all the wrong social media sites. So again, I see so many people not focusing on the right social media sites for them and for their business. So how do you know which are the right social media sites for you? First of all, your ideal social media sites are where your ideal connections are. And we've already discussed this, your ideal clients and your ideal joint venture partners. So first you want to get clear on where your ideal clients and your ideal JV partners already are naturally spending time online. Is it Twitter? Is it Pinterest? Is it Facebook? Is it LinkedIn? What sites are they already using? Now, once you do that research and you figure that out, then from that list, you need to narrow it down to which social media sites do you enjoy using. If you hate Twitter, don't force yourself to use Twitter. Perhaps you love Facebook and you love Pinterest and you love Instagram and you like YouTube, but it's okay. So go through and rank those in order of sites that you really enjoy using and just cross off the ones that you don't enjoy using. Which sites come naturally to you? Again, some people just find Facebook to be really just a natural place for them to engage and connect with people. Fantastic. Use those sites. Don't force yourself to use sites that you don't enjoy. Next, where are your ideal connections? You're going to have to do research on this. So look at similar businesses to you and see what social media sites they're using. Search for keywords related to your niche or your industry or the therapy that you use. Look at who is using which social media sites and figure out which ones they're on. You can also survey your list if you have one, or survey people that you're already connected with on social media and see which other social media sites they're using. So you really need to do the research and get clear on which social media sites your ideal clients and JV partners are using. So again, look at where your ideal clients and JV partners are, look at where similar businesses are, and look at the demographics of social media sites. Now, if your business is working mainly with men, Pinterest is probably not going to be an ideal social media site for you because it's at least 80% women. I think it's 82% women now. And more men are coming to Pinterest, but it's still overwhelmingly female dominated. So I hope that makes sense. The fourth way that you are probably wasting time on social media, you're trying to be everywhere. Now, this is something I see all the time. So many people come up to me and they say, "Oh, you'd be so proud of me. I'm on every single social media site." And I just think, you know what? No, not proud of you because you're probably totally overwhelmed. So here's my question to you. Do you know which social media sites to use and which ones to ignore? Don't try to be everywhere. Now, what I consider to be a basic profile online is your website, your blog or your video blog or your wherever it is that you're sharing content, and your mailing list. Now, this is so vital because this is your territory. You need to have a website that you control because social media sites come and go. They change their policies, stuff changes, but you need a central hub where you can showcase what you do and you have all of your offerings. And that's your website, your blog, or whatever other content you're sharing there, and your mailing list. Because most people, when they arrive at your website for the first time or the third time or the fifth time, are not going to be ready to give you money and buy from you. So you need to find a way to capture their name and their email so you can stay in touch with them via your newsletter. So this to me is absolutely vital. Now for business owners, I think that LinkedIn is also a really important place to be. So that means having an optimized profile, and you can participate in groups or not. But I think the bare minimum is having a really good optimized profile using lots of keywords. Now, next, your other social media sites that you're going to be using are where your clients are. And again, which sites you enjoy. So choose one or two other social media sites, depending on how much time you have, and focus just on those. Let go of the rest. So maybe you've determined that the best social media sites for you are Facebook and Pinterest. Great. Stick with that. Let go of Twitter. Let go of Instagram. Let go of YouTube. Let go of everything else and focus just on those. And when you get really, really good at building a community on those sites, then you can establish yourself on other social media sites if you have the time. So what are all the main options on social media? So Facebook, I'm sure you know of. Foursquare is great if you've got a brick and mortar business because that's a place where people can check in physically and say, "Hey, I'm at this place." Now, if you're listening to this podcast and you're a woman in heart-centered businesses, you're probably not going to be using Foursquare unless you're, say, a massage therapist or someone a Reiki practitioner or someone who actually physically meets with your clients. Next, Instagram can be great for visual people and visual businesses. Goodreads, if you're an author, you absolutely should be on Goodreads. Google Plus is great for driving traffic to your website, good for SEO. Pinterest is also excellent at driving traffic to your website, and it's very, very visual. Twitter, you've all heard of, and YouTube. So those are kind of the basic 8. I mean, there are other ones like Reddit, which can be good, but probably not for the people who are listening to this podcast. So moving on. The 5th way you're probably wasting time on social media, you're creating the wrong types of content. And I see this all the time. So many people that struggle with blogging, because they've been told they absolutely have to blog, but they just hate it. And it's just such a hardship. So my question to you is, do you struggle with blogging because you really don't enjoy writing? If so, you're not alone. And just in the same way that I think that you shouldn't force yourself to use social media sites that you don't enjoy, I think you also shouldn't force yourself to create the types of content that you don't enjoy. So there are so many different types of content out there. You can create audio files. You can do guided meditations. You can do audio interviews. You can do blogs if you like writing. You can write books, ebooks. You can create case studies. You can create images and photos and quote boxes and images with tips and suggestions to help your ideal clients. You can do interviews, and those can either be audio interviews, video interviews, written Q&A interviews. You can do newsletters. You can create a podcast like this. You can do a radio show. You can do reviews of products, services, books. You can do videos. You can do webinars. There's so many different types of content. But the question is, what do you enjoy? So play to your strengths. Do you enjoy writing? Do you enjoy speaking? Do you enjoy creating short pieces of content or long pieces of content? Do you enjoy interacting with others, or would you rather just do something yourself? Do you enjoy creating artwork and images and photos? Do you like live events, or do you like recorded events? What do you enjoy? Play to your strengths and create those types of contents. So another thing to think about is the whole visual, auditory, kinesthetic thing. And thinking about that can also help you determine the right content for you and for your business. So as you may know, different people have different preferred methods of learning. So are you visual? Are you auditory? Are you kinesthetic? How do you like to learn? Are you the kind of person who likes to read, to watch videos? Do you like to listen to things like podcasts and audiobooks? Are you kinesthetic? Do you like to learn by doing and kind of feel and experience things? What about your ideal clients and ideal joint venture partners? Are they visual? Are they auditory? Are they kinesthetic? Think about that, and then think about the different types of content and apply this whole visual, auditory, kinesthetic learning methods to the types of content that you're creating for your business. So number 6, the 6th way you're wasting time online. You're not using keywords. So many people in business are not using keywords. And so my question here for you is, do you know exactly what are your best keywords for your business? So first of all, what are keywords? Because I get this question all the time. They're search terms that people use. They're how people find you online. They could be one word, or they could be a phrase. They could be 2, 3, 4, 5 words. And they kind of describe your website content, whether it's your website or, say, your social media bio. So why are keywords important? They're important because they're used to index, catalog, and rank websites. So they're used to deliver a higher ranking in search results because a search engine like Google will perceive particular sites as being important. So if you're using keywords, whether on your website or on your social media profiles, it means that it'll make you more visible. Because when people are searching for someone like you, you will show up rather than someone else. So how to find your keywords? Make note of at least 10 keywords, things that come to mind that people might use to search when they arrive at your website. Next, go through the analytics or statistics on your website and add the top search terms that people are using to arrive at your site. Next, play around with the Google AdWords Keyword Planner. Now, this has changed over time, and you're going to have to sign up for Google AdWords to use this now, but that doesn't mean that you actually have to create an ad and spend money on Google AdWords. So just Google the Google AdWords Keyword Planner, and you'll find the link to it, and then you can use that to play around. So what you do is you enter some sample keywords and key phrases, and then Google tells you just how popular those keywords and key phrases are, and then it gives you other suggestions. So once you've got this whole list of ideas for keywords, go through them and narrow it down to your top 10 and focus on just those. Now, once you've got those, you want to use them. Use them in your social media bios, use them in the content that you create, use them on your website, and make sure that people can find you by using these top keywords or search terms. So next, the last and final way that you're wasting time online. You're collecting, not connecting. Now, what does that mean? So many people online get caught up in the numbers because it's so easy to measure. It's so easy to see. I've got, 3,000 Twitter followers. I've got 500 likes on my Facebook page. I've got, so many people following me on Pinterest. It's so easy to see and it's so easy to measure. But the thing is, those are things that we call vanity metrics. They're not that important because they just say how many people are following or liking you. It doesn't express how the quality of these connections. It doesn't express whether you're actually getting business results from these connections. So again, focus on quality connections, not quantity. You want to actually reach out to connections, the people that you've connected with online, and you want to start a conversation with them. You want to get to know them, and this is so, so important. Don't just collect numbers. Really get to know the individuals. Now, the way that I recommend to do this, and I got another podcast episode on this, and I've also got a webinar on this that you can access. It's a 7-step system that I call social media the heart-centered way. And I'm just going to go really, really quickly through these 7 steps. So the first step is self-expression, and that's just setting up your profiles. Second step is creative expression, and that's creating your content. Next, creating connection, and as you know, you've got to connect with the right people. Step 4 is being of service, and that means helping people out, your ideal clients and ideal joint venture partners, helping them out with the content that you create. Step 5 is to nurture relationships. That's where you're just building relationships with all of your connections. Step 6 is to build partnerships, and that's with your joint venture partners. And step 7 is to cultivate your tribe, and that's just going through the whole 7 steps again. So again, you want to be focusing on not just connecting with people, but nurturing those relationships, building partnerships, and really getting to know the people that you're connecting with. So those are the 7 ways that you're wasting time online and the ways that you can stop. So I always like to try to end things with actions that you can take today. So let's take action today. So first of all, get clear on what makes you unique and really express that online. Next, make a list of your keywords if you haven't already. Try to get, your top 10 keywords and use them in your social media profiles. Next, make sure that you're connected with the right people. That might mean cleaning out your list of people that you don't want to be connected to. And I discussed that on last month's podcast, how to clear out your connections. So last, the 4th thing you can do is to let go of social networks that aren't right for you. So again, get focused on your top 1 or 2 social networks and let go of the rest. You have permission. So, question. Are you feeling more confident now that you know how to avoid wasting time online? Please either share in the comments if you go to the show notes, or let me know. Send me an email. Contact me. Let me know if this has helped you and if it's helped you give you confidence on how to stop wasting time. So next, how you can learn more and some more time-saving tips. So first of all, let me share with you the more time-saving tips. Separate your business use from personal use on social media. I touched on this at the beginning, but this is really, really important. Next, allot time in your calendar for social media. So whether it's, 15, 20, 30, 60, 90 minutes, whatever it is, allot that time, set that time in your calendar, set a timer if needed, and get off social media when your timer goes off. Next, try to plan your activities on social media around daily, weekly, monthly, and quarterly activities. So your daily activities should be on conversation, getting to know people and building conversations with people. Weekly activities should focus on building your network and connecting with more people. Monthly activities should be reviewing what you're doing. Is your activity on social media meeting your goals? Are you working towards your objectives? Are you, are things just working out for you or not? Let go of what's not working and plan to do more of what is working. quarterly activities are looking at the big picture. And again, perhaps you need to let go of certain social media sites that aren't working for you or add different ones. Your business will change, your strategy will change, and you need to, plan accordingly. So look at dividing your time in that way. So quickly, other ways you can learn more or work with me. I've got 3 main ways of working with people. I've got an 8-module social media course. That's an online course, and you're welcome to join that. I also work one-to-one with people on my monthly mentoring program. And lastly, I work with people on helping them overcome their fears of marketing and social media. So check out my website if you'd like to learn more. It's sociallyholistic.com. And again, I hope you found this interesting and useful, and I hope that I have helped you learn some tips on how to stop wasting time on social media, because again, this is one of the biggest complaints that I hear from people. So thank you so much for listening, and remember to visit sociallyholistic.com/SHP49 for the show notes on this episode. Thank you so much for joining me, and again, I hope you found this useful. Thank you very much. Bye.
Thanks so much for listening to the Socially Holistic Podcast with your host, Holly Worton. Please help us help more women in business by giving us a 5-star review of this podcast. The more women who find out about this podcast, the more successful businesses there will be. So please leave a 5-star review today over at iTunes. Thank you.